Lucy Connolly has been manhandled without provocation, handcuffed and stripped of privileges by prison officers. That's according to the Deputy Leader of Reform UK, Richard Tice. And this comes after Mr Tice visited Ms Connolly in prison earlier on today. And I'm delighted I'm joined in the studio by the Deputy Leader of Reform UK, Richard Tice. Mr Tice, welcome to the show. A deeply, deeply concerning story. Please tell us what happened.
So I'm fresh back from HM Peterborough Prison, where I went to visit Lucy Connolly to talk to her primarily about the 10-minute rule bill I'm introducing into the House of Commons tomorrow, what I'm calling Lucy's Law. Before I just come on to that, I'd heard an anxious suggestion that she had had some serious mistreatment last week, so I obviously wanted to talk that through with her. And first and foremost, actually, the prison was clean, tidy, well organised. I was, very well treated and respected by all of the staff. She spoke warmly of many of the staff, of the officers doing a difficult job. It's a very serious prison. There's a male prison and there's a female prison there. And all was going fine. She was expecting to be moved to what they call an enhanced wing because of very good behaviour. And then all of a sudden she was notified that actually she was going into a completely different wing with a very different type of inmate, where there are serious problems with regard to violence, with regard to drugs, where sadly 2 women have died in the last year or so. And she was horrified. And then before she knew it, when she said, why am I going there? That was registered as a complaint, apparently the first complaint that she had made. She's got an immaculate reputation in prison, I'm led to believe. And before she knew it, there's many officers surrounding her. There's a nurse there. And she is manhandled physically, violently to the ground in an operation they call a bend-op. Hands put violently behind her back, handcuffed very, very tightly. And she is then literally physically handcuffed in this bend-op where you're bent over, dragged up 3 flights of stairs into this new wing where she's thrown into almost effectively solitary confinement and given no food for the rest of the day. And this was obviously horrifically concerning. 5 days on, I could see clear stress marks and bruises on her wrists from those handcuffs that the officers struggled to get off her hands because they were so tightly struck on. And, that was the highest level of restraint and force that officers use. There's 2 lower levels. Lucy's, she has patently got a good track record in prison. This seems extraordinary maltreatment without any provocation whatsoever that I was absolutely horrified by. So she's lodged a complaint. I spoke to the head of security. All officers have body cam footage, which I would expect should have been triggered by that action. There's also CCTV footage, as you would expect in prisons. So I've got an assurance from the head of security. He will look at all of the footage and form a view in a transparent way. He's promised me. I trust all the cameras and everything work so that we can get a proper response to those very serious allegations from Lucy Connolly.
Why do you think somebody with the record you say there, an impeccable prison record, she sent a tweet, a clumsy tweet, an inflammatory tweet, why do you think it would precipitate such a reaction?
I genuinely fear that she is essentially a political prisoner who is there at the behest, effectively, indirectly, of the Prime Minister. And I do worry now, because it's so inexplicable. If you can't understand something, you've got to think, well, what else is going on here? And I do genuinely worry, and I said to her, be very, very careful. Because if they're trying to provoke some form of reaction from Lucy so that they can say, oh, there you are, she's violent. She's got violent intentions. You can see this. This is what goes on. And I said to her, be very, very careful. Check everything. The fear that they might try and plant some drugs on her to show that actually she's a bad person. Because clearly from the track record of her in prison, that's not the case. She, by all accounts, has been a model prisoner. So those are my genuine concerns.
How is she? I mean, this is an appalling thing for anybody to go,
It is an appalling thing. I have to say that subject to that violent attack, which she obviously found very, very shocking, very painful and distressing, I would say that she is showing resilience and it's hard to imagine. But nevertheless, lucid, robust, resilient, confident in her own, in a sense, in her own presence. And that, yes, she regrets a stupid, offensive, vile tweet that she apologised for and took down 4 hours later. You know, this is a woman who just made a daft online mistake and regretted it. This is not an individual who's a threat to people who should be incarcerated. You know, there's many other ways of doing things. And actually, she talked at length about prison reform, about rehabilitation of prisoners, all that stuff that you might expect. I'm quite sure that we're an excellent book. She could become a sort of a trainer for rehabilitation. So I would say that I found her in lucid, resilient, intelligent form, but deeply distressed about this horrid incident that was utterly inexplicable.
And tell us about Lucy's Law, what your plans are for that.
So I believe that, you know, whilst most cases of justice work, actually justice is best when it's natural justice that has the confidence of the British people. And occasionally judges get it wrong. So what I'm saying is, when there's been a judgment, don't interfere with the judgment, but maybe there should be an ability for the public, maybe 500 people, to sign a petition saying, I think it needs treble checking as to whether this sentence is too lenient or too harsh. Almost like a sort of a treble safeguard to ask the Criminal Cases Review Commission, please look at this again. If you think that actually it needs another look, then it could go back to the Court of Appeal judges to re-look just at the sentence, not to relitigate the case itself, but just to treble check the sentence. I don't think that's unreasonable as an extra safeguard in a democracy where people want to have the best confidence in our justice system. That's what I'm introducing tomorrow. Lucy's very grateful, and I'm calling it Lucy's Bill.
Thank you very much for joining us, Richard Tice, Deputy Leader of Reform UK. And we did reach out. We contacted the Ministry of Justice about this story, and we'll bring you their response once we have it to a set of serious allegations. Richard Tice, thank you very much for your time.